Hi, my name is David Agudo, and I'm here with two of my cousins. And the topic of discussion is how have the severity and controversies surrounding immigration evolved throughout time. Um, so we wanted to touch on the topic first of how after Japan bombed Pearl Harbor during World War II, the United States put most of the Japanese community into concentration camps.
I mean, if you really think about it, is that really immigration? Would that be considered immigration? Why is that considered immigration?
Um,
I mean, in a way, it is because a lot of them came here after the war to seek something better for themselves, and then you come here and you're people who, yeah, you're in a way related to them just because you're the same ethnicity, but you didn't do anything. But then you get put in.
Your collateral?
Yeah, you're collateral. Yeah, exactly. This. I feel like it's not fair.
yeah, definitely isn't. I just feel like it's I mean, yeah, it definitely is immigration just because how he said it. Like they came and it's like completely like unjust. It's not fair like at all. And honestly, why should people be punished for other people's actions? You know?
That's probably the gray area of immigration where
Yeah.
you get mistargeted because of an event that happened during war. And, like that's one of the gray areas of war as well. Like a lot of things get put under fire, controversially because of war during war times, whether it be race, gender, or even in our case, um,
Ethnicity.
ethnicity. Yeah.
Um,
Well, if you really think about it too, like they were putting American soldiers in camps over there too. So like,
mhm.
is it just that we did it here? They tortured them like crazy.
um, I feel like that's a very sensitive topic.
But they weren't doing it because they were some sort of race or ethnicity. They were doing it because they were soldiers on enemy, ground. Like
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
here we were targeting innocent Japanese people and putting them in camps and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
just
it's
'cause-
kind of different.
There are also laws though, like you can't, like I'm pretty sure you can't torture a prisoner.
Oh yeah, for
of
sure.
POW.
Yeah.
So it's like,
And all is fair in war, but that's a different topic.
yeah,
I mean, in this case, right? It's like you can see how much immigration gets affected and how like malleable it is because of certain controversial times like war. It's very easy for like America to fold under pressure, and that's one of the crucial moments where they did fold, where immigration was put under attack for no reason, for no good reason actually, because they were scared. Like that's what happens in America, is scared, politically speaking.
Um, I feel like that's how it's been all been out. Like that's how it's been throughout history, right? Because like once the U.S. gets scared, they just don't know what to do. Like
Yeah.
they lose their minds almost.
Issue with like privacy and security. and stuff
Exactly.
like that.
It's very concerning because you know how we're American citizens and we never know what could happen. You know.
yeah, we're not white.
Exactly. Ex-
I mean, that is one.
yeah.
That is another controversial topic to
Yeah.
talk about. What white people do, like in America, they support people like Trump and whatnot. They're at the elections and stuff. Trump wanted to, get rid of policies such as DACA because he didn't want immigration to happen because of Hispanic citizens and whatnot, Hispanic immigrants. That was also another example of how immigration gets, politically affected. And during the Trump administration, he wanted to, make a wall and prevent immigration from even
Yeah, that was
happening.
what he based his whole
Yeah,
campaign off.
Yeah.
of.
Right.
Build a wall.
hmm And he thought his slogan was "Making America Great Again," and basically it was solely based off just getting immigrants out of the U.S.
Yeah, because
they infected, supposedly infected our society, but in reality, when they help grow our society, because they're the ones like doing all the hard labor, working in the sun, working the long hours for almost nothing. You know?
Mm. I mean, he tried to tear away everything that Barack Obama basically did.
Exactly.
During Barack Obama's administration, he basically he created DACA,
Mm.
so he's trying to give immigrants a chance to gain a job security and stuff like that. And also when it comes to like the white man and people that like originally basically quote unquote originated from America, even though like during the Columbus time, they basically got rid of the Native Americans.
Yeah.
That's another form of immigration there. But yeah, like Barack Obama gave him a chance to, get a job and whatnot, and the white man was scared that they're gonna take over their jobs, and they were scared that like they get pushed out of their own country. When in reality, like America's there to like integrate others and whatnot.
Exactly, and that's touching on the topic what we just talked about, like beforehand, like they don't know what to do when they get scared, and I feel like it also plays into like the 9/11 controversy because based off, it was said that the terrorist attacks were from Middle Easterns. I believe they were. I'm not sure what ethnicity or race, but it was Middle Eastern, so I know that for sure. But yeah, and over here, just because it was said that it was done by Middle Easterns, over here we decided to become prejudiced and racist, and basically discriminate against any kind of Middle Easterns, such as Arabs and Muslims, Palestinians, etc. Just because we were attacked, and like as we also said before, it one person's actions can't like can't
Determine
a whole like race or ethnicity. We can't, just because there's like one bad apple off the tree, we can't say that the whole apple tree is like full of bad apples.
That's a common pattern with America, where like one instance, like one error happens, or one fault in the system just completes it, like leads to a lockdown, leads to complete like prejudice and like hate towards whatever the problem was and whatnot. And I wanted to move on and say, like, in terms of 9/11, like in regards of 9/11, like security before 9/11 was like completely like open and faulty. It was like so vulnerable than it is now today.
Yeah.
Like my father before 9/11, because he was here before 9/11, he immigrated here illegally, right?
Yeah.
When he got here, since there was no like security here, like you were able to, like, he was telling me that when he got his Social Security, all he had to do was go to the DMV and just lie to them, be like the DMV themselves misplaced his license, and that's how he got his license. He just went up there and he's like, "Yo, I need like my license," or what was he looking for, his like ID or whatever. And the people at the DMV were like, "Oh, we don't have that." And then my father just basically complained and said like, "Oh, you're lying," and so they just created one for him, and that's how security was back then.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, touching on it now, like even if you go just to the airport, like to a nice country like Spain or like some European country, Latin American country, South America, etc., right? Your bags get checked, your bags get weighed. Sometimes they have dogs to sniff everything out, and you have to go through multiple check-ins. It's just what isn't like, oh, you're good here, you go,
Yeah, like you can't even take certain appliances,
exactly,
like lotion, all that has to be like travel size.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
I've never been on the plane. I'm not gonna lie to you.
But yeah, and also like even if you see something suspicious, like anything at all, you get checked right away, like nothing, And I feel like it like basically, I mean, like as you said, before 9/11, it wasn't that bad, but afterwards it was complete chaos,
There was a whole like viral like scene in YouTube where like it would be funny to like make jokes or make like pranks and like Muslim people or like anyone that looked relatively Muslim or any Middle Eastern would get immediately checked like several times or called off from their flight, and they would delay the flight for them because they would assume that they carry some sort of like bomb, whatever.
Yeah,
that was like the race, like the prejudice back then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they lived in fear, Like I believe, I'm pretty sure till this day, some people look at Muslims or Arabs differently just because of what happened on 9/11.
Yeah, definitely.
Even though it's almost been 2 decades now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And till this day, it's like people still like they live in fear just because of what happened, like what an action that a person took 20 years ago. Like the action was pretty severe and very let's say
controversial.
Yeah, exactly, very controversial.
But not everyone's responsible for it.
Exactly.
Not everyone related is responsible for it.
Yeah, that's the point,
I mean, think about it, right? immigration and whatnot, the controversy and severity regarding it has just only increased. It's only become worse as time passes on.
Exactly.
Because if you like look at the roots of immigration, when colonists first even came out to the country, like there were Native Americans on the land, and they feared like that the Native American, like they feared that they used Native Americans as labor. That was a common reoccurrence. And when America was like the 13 colonies were established, and like America was established, and when politics started first getting into the scene of immigration, they ran off Native Americans from their lands to take over and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why we have like reservations for Native Americans and whatnot, because most of the reservations were taken over and destroyed. Like the tears of, like, what's that, the tail, no, not the tail,
the Trail of Tears.
The Trail of Tears, yeah. There's a bunch of Native Americans that got kicked out.
Yeah.
So like immigrating to new land.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, even like people to this day have been pushed like onto certain land just because, like as you said, like Native Americans, they were here first. They had the whole land to themselves, right? Mm-hmm. But now they're pushed onto certain portions of land just because we're all like, not we, but like the colonists were so greedy and they wanted to take everything for themselves, even though that was unjust and not right. And I just feel like that's like another portion of, like, it's like another example of fear, just because like the Native Americans, they didn't understand the colonists, and the colonists didn't understand the Native Americans, and like a bunch of things could have gone wrong. And I feel like the colonists took the upper hand just because they were a little more advanced than the Native Americans were, and basically took advantage of the Native Americans.
Yeah, I feel like that's a common theme just in the world. Taking advantage of someone because they're considered a little dumber, I guess. Like even in Germany, the Aryan supremacy, you'd be like, oh, if you were white, blonde hair, blue eyes, like you're superior to everyone. That started a whole world war.
It's like a mindset that countries, third world countries, even our country, is like stuck in, like an illusion. Yeah. And, you see America's like stuck with the illusion that like, oh, they fear integration. They fear all becoming one. People that support Blue Lives Matter, or like the Trump 2024 administration or whatnot. They fear that a lot of people, Hispanics, Black people, Middle Eastern people, they like race comes into play here because they don't want race to integrate. They view others as people that are not them. They want other people, like their own people is just white. Mm-hmm. Black people is not a people. It's a burden to them.
It's a color.
They fear integration, and that's why people like ideas such as immigration get affected because of this mindset that America's stuck in. Like other people from outer countries look at America and like, oh, it's a place of opportunity and a difference in their life, but in reality it's like America's just fooling people and kicking out and like making labeling people's burdens. And that's one of the reasons why race is a problem, gender is a problem, because they fear integrating, they fear becoming as one, they fear including other people. They don't want to accept it. That's what America is basically.
Yeah, I feel like Americans fear what they don't know,
Right.
Exactly. Just because like even gender nowadays, like just because it isn't male or female, they just don't accept it just because all they ever known was female and male. But now that there's like said more genders and etc., like stuff like that, they just don't want to accept it because they don't know, like they don't understand the concept of different genders, or like such as like as you said, blacks or Hispanics or Europeans, Asians, African Americans, etc. They don't like understand their culture or what they're based off of. They just know, like, because they were raised in a very, like, I'm guessing, traditional like households, and they only know like how like the mother's supposed to be like hardworking father and then a stay-at-home mother.
Right.
They don't get like more modern concepts, like like such as like both parents working, or maybe the mother working and the father staying at home taking care of kids.
I mean, that's the good thing about immigration. Introducing immigration and letting immigration happen is like, that's what introduces new traditions. The traditional family here in America from the beginning is like, oh, the mother stays at home and works while the father stays at home and takes care of the house and cooks and whatnot, while the father goes out and goes to war, or fights, or does labor. But if you introduce immigration, my parents both were workers. They both did farming or agricultural work, and they also
Yeah.
sold stuff by their own house, like stores and whatnot.
Hmm.
And that's what I was introduced to. Both of them, traveled far, like traveled tough terrains to go to school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when they came to this country, the traditions changed. They were so used to both of them doing work, but now they realize like, oh, it doesn't take that much labor to become successful here.
Yeah.
They had kids and whatnot. They were able to afford it all. And now I'm doing basically something that they're never used to. I go to school now. I don't do like labor work at such a young age and whatnot. And that's the beauty of immigration and introducing and letting it thrive in this country because of how how opportunistic this country is. But even though it is opportunistic, people are so confused and they believe like, oh, America is so advanced already, so technologically advanced, that they convince themselves that, oh, America doesn't need changing. It's already as changed as it can be. It's already as updated as it can be. But now, like, because they fear new change,
Yeah.
people like now are like Hispanics are trapped in cages and whatnot because of ICE, because of the Trump administration.
Yeah, that's a topic I really want to touch on. So just because like people come here illegally, kids at the border are being punished. They're being separated from their families. They have no idea where they are. They don't know how to speak the language, right? And they're trapped inside cages. I've seen pictures where there's like almost 50 kids in one cage, and they literally just have no parents with them. There's like no supervisor. It's just them in a cage, like in a big facility. There's various cages in the facility as well. It's just not like one cage. And I also saw how to keep them warm, to keep themselves warm. There's like a foil, like a tin foil kind of like sheet that like covers almost all of them. Which I'm pretty sure is kind of hazardous just because they're kids and they don't really know what to do or what to think, because as a kid you have your parents to guide you and like to help you with whatever you need, right? But here the kids, I'm pretty sure they haven't even come into contact with their parents just because they came here illegally, which wasn't
separated.
Yeah, exactly, but it wasn't their choice.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a better opportunity, but the parents like initially took that choice just because they really thought it would be like better for their children.
Yeah, the controversy there is that like some people like wholeheartedly believe that that's right and that's correct. They see nothing wrong with it at all. Nothing at all. Like they think like, oh, separating Hispanics and kicking them out, or even making them suffer through traumatic events so that they like don't come back ever again. Like that's something that should not be accepted by anybody in this country. But some people are convinced that that is the move for America.
Yeah,
That's
that
what they
it's
need to do.
okay. Yeah, when it completely isn't. Like immigrants, like I said in the beginning, immigrants are the ones that like do all the hard labor. I'm pretty sure some of the food we eat on our plates every day come from like immigrants. Like they're picking it, and they're like working through the sun, like getting those fruits, even though they don't make like probably more than $10 a day or like $20 a day, just because they're immigrants. They're being taken advantage of because they don't know any better.
They don't know any better. They gained less over there in the country, so $10 to them now is like a fortune.
Exactly.
But they don't know that they're getting overworked and
Underpaid.
mentally stressed and whatnot. And they have to go through stuff in work as well. Like there's
Exactly.
other people out there that don't like to give people service that don't speak English.
Exactly.
There was one time where I went to the laundromat. Actually, it was recently, and I went to go do laundry myself because I'm a big boy. And I was there and I was doing my laundry while I was waiting, drinking my snack, waiting for my clothes to wash and whatnot.
Yeah.
There was there was a lady there at the cash register that only speaks Spanish. She tries her best to understand English. So there was this English couple that came in and walked by, and they were like asking for they were saying like one of the machines wasn't working for the washer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard like explicitly that she was like, oh, why are you working here if you don't speak English? And she was complaining to her husband, and like, I mean, I didn't do anything, so it was like it's kind of like messed up on my part, but it's whatever.
Yeah, I just feel like touching on the topic like before, it's just because they don't know any better, I feel like those workers, those kind of workers are like underappreciated, because not everybody would be like in a laundromat just like standing there waiting for others to like come to them. And even though like you said, she was trying her best to like work it out and understand, and I'm pretty sure they realize that she's not from here, and they still decide to give her a hard time just because because they believe in white roots. They like everybody should be talking English, everybody should be from here. But even just because she's not from here and she doesn't know English, they decided to give her a hard time, you know. And
Yeah, it's not hard to go to another laundromat. That's what I was thinking.
Exactly.
Why come to a laundromat in a bad mood when your clothes are dirty and you want something to like? You're doing your own job. It's like something you need to do. So why complain about it?
exactly, and and then also like uh, immigrants also benefit in a different kind of way because wherever they go they obviously raise the population, and the census every year, right?
Yeah.
It's taken every year, and it helps us get a more voice in the government.
Right.
Yeah, it works with I believe the House of Representatives, right? Because basically you get more representatives with more population. Exactly.
Stuff like that and whatnot.
Exactly. So if we raise the population in a certain area, we get more representation in the government, which is obviously a plus because who wouldn't want more voice, right?
And the right people get the right vote.
Exactly. And
There's a bunch of pros and cons with that.
Exactly.
As immigration increase, people fear that they would take over their jobs and whatnot.
mhm,
But there's more representation in certain states and whatnot, and the right governors were chosen, and cities got more representation, and people got chose their what their taxes went for. There's also stuff like America. It's been said like people like by James Baldwin in his writing like America likes to put people that they don't want in places that are unsatisfactory, like the ghettos in Harlem and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Immigration increases, people move to the north for better, but they get placed in situations like the ghetto, where it's like an institution where it's like a cycle of never getting out. Once you get to the ghetto, James Baldwin says like you're basically stuck there because there's no social mobility there.
exactly. And I want to take like the Bronx for example. If you went to for example, I have family in the Bronx, right? My aunt and a bunch of my cousins and my uncle live there. And every time I go to visit, I probably see almost 1 out of 20 people are white, and they're probably just visiting or like looking for family or etc. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly, just because they don't you almost would never see a white person in the Bronx,
Right.
because the Bronx has a very bad
Reputation.
exactly, but you would see Hispanics there, blacks there, Muslims,
Immigrants.
exactly, immigrants, because they don't know any better, and I feel like I just feel like just because like I said before, they don't know any better, so they're taking advantage of, they're like, oh, we got a nice house, but like at what cost? There's shooting, violence,
The safety of the neighborhood.
exactly, and they are raising kids. Usually immigrants come here to give their kids better life,
The education system.
Exactly.
And whatnot.
and then they just since they don't know any better, they come here and it's like they're almost in another dilemma.
There's no
because-
guidance.
Exactly.
So they get stuck there. That's
It's-
the tragedy of that.
Yeah. And
I mean, overall, like I said, the severity and controversies surrounding immigration is, for the better, immigration has been helped. There's more guidance than there was before.
Yeah, for sure.
At first, people were like, America was taken over by violence, and they wanted to kick everyone out, and only white people, yada yada yada. Like that was the mindset. But throughout time, after 9/11, after a couple errors, even though there are some people out there that wholeheartedly believe that immigration should be completely getting rid of, like not just Hispanics, like Middle Eastern people, African Americans, whatnot. Even though there are some people there, there's a lot of people that support immigration and want to keep DACA. People in the politics like DACA in place, and even though there's not much guidance, the guidance was improved. Social mobility was improved throughout time.
yeah.
But in terms of immigration, it'll always be a problem.
hmm
I don't think there's a solution for that. What do you say? Do you think there's a solution for the way immigration is viewed in America?
Definitely not. Just because I feel like, everybody always has their ideas and their own morals and their own concepts, and I feel like this almost like racism and discrimination against these kind of people, like they're taught, because you never look at even when you're born, right? You don't know.
Right.
Doesn't matter if black, you're white.
You don't inherit evil.
Exactly.
You're taught evil.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. You know, and I just feel like it's almost it's. I feel like the only way to. I mean, I
It's
don't know.
impossible.
It's impossible, right?
It's impossible.
But the only way to fix it is to like teach your
Understanding,
children,
educating,
understand, yeah,
and stuff like
educating
that.
your children. Oh, you shouldn't base a person off. Oh, he's black. Oh, he's white. You know, if he's black, that means he's dangerous. That's like completely
Right,
false. You
right,
know,
right, right.
because you never know. You know, I just feel like, well, as you said, like the severity and the controversies surrounding immigration have been like shifting towards the better,
Mhm.
but it's never gonna be all good. You know.
I think the only solution here is always understanding that immigration, acknowledging immigration exists and, working to improve it and trying to reach an ideal situation. Because the only way this fails or this battle fails is if we completely stop believing that immigration should exist.
Exactly.
Like if we give up,
Mhm.
like that's the only way it fails. I think the only solution here is whatever we're doing now. Because anyone could easily turn it on us and be like, oh, we're discriminating against white people because we're targeting them and hating them. But
Yeah.
in reality, like it's that balance that keeps immigration alive. And
Yeah.
like you said, education is the only way.
Hmm. Yeah, I just feel like, I just feel like there's no like real solution, you know. Like, I mean, we
I
just said it,
understand.
right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I understand more about it.
Yeah,
Immigration's crazy, bro. It's so bad.
yeah, it really is. But yeah, as we said, the severity and controversy surrounding immigration have evolved throughout time, and mostly for the better.
That was a good conversation.
Yeah,
I feel like we hit all our points there.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Have a great day.